Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you.
Yeah, I see you.
Trap squad, trap squad, trap
squad.
Mondale microphone sounded like he had a horrible concert, man. Get your acoustic right today, what?
He just want to start cracking Joe. He mad because I.
Oh yeah, no, I'm coming for you.
Hey, I mean, listen, I always want to joke with you, Sinbad.
All right, Captain K High, let's go ahead. Let's do this.
Looking like a tall, dingy cactus.
Looking like Santa when he got back home. We can do this all day.
We can do it all day.
Hold on. Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. I am one of your three hosts that are doing it big on this last day of the year.
Last few hours.
Last couple of hours of the year. So we're going to try to keep this short as possible. We all decided to come through the last day of the year and actually spread some love. I am Marcus Farrell, one of the three hosts. I am going to pass it over to Pastor Benjamin Dixon on one of these channels and also one of the contributors.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Pastor Ben, not Pastor Troy, even though I am a fan of Pastor Troy. Watch night services tonight, so I'm going to do my very best to not get myself too far out of the spirit, so I ain't got to go and try and fast before watch night service. So I'm going to leave that all to y'all tonight, but I know we got some stuff we got to cover. Missed y'all boys last week, so Merry Christmas to you all belated, and Happy New Year to everyone in the chat.
Absolutely.
Brother Mundell, it's yours.
Gentlemen.
Mayor Mundell, my bad.
It's all listen. I'm only mayor in Enfield, allegedly. But listen, I'm super excited to be back. I'm so glad we decided to do this evening because I think last week and this week we've seen some big news, some important stuff that we need to discuss because I think it's been a vacuum. We also watch Don Lemon show up and what the conservative world call a crash out, but it actually looked more progressive than some of these progressive outlets, and we'll just leave that there. But Ben, do what you do and drive this plane, bro.
Hey, man, look, I'm just getting these comments on the screen. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to Boston Brian. Thank you for that super chat already. Super chats are going up. I see Chuck Diesel is in the house. D Cypher is in the house. Let's see who we got. Looney Tunes is in the house. Shout out to all of y'all, everybody who's joining us across Dev Anton. Hey, man. Man, they got mad about that Anna asparagus stuff.
Oh God, did they?
Did they?
I'm like,
man, Marcus, you had already left. We came back on to post that.
I saw that.
That thing was.
Man, look here. That thing was funny. But look, a lot has happened since then. Where do y'all want to start? Like, I think one of the biggest stories right now. I know you mentioned Jimmy Carter. We mentioned the Panama Canal. We're going to get to all of that. But I know you fellas have got something to say about what's going on with the H-1B visa debate. There's so many angles to this, from the Elon Musk and the Vivek Ramaswamy angle to the Steve Bannon and the populist right, or whatever they want to call themselves. I just want to call them racist side of it. Then you got the Indian Americans or Indian immigrants who come in and they seem to be surprised at the racism in the party that they voted for. It's so much to say. Who want to jump on it first? You on mute, Mundell.
You know I don't never mind talking first. Listen, this is an amazingly important thing to be happening right now in this moment. What we're witnessing is the rupture of this fake coalition that they had. And I think people need to see it and see it for what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
But what we're about to find out, or what we already know, but what the white MAGA is about to find out is Donald Trump don't give a damn about you. And you're about to see that money will always be where he goes, out loud. But the magic is, watch how they normalize it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watch how it goes from this rant right now that they're having, because still he's speaking their language. He teach them that it's okay to hate whoever you want to, as long as you propping up whiteness. Here's what, watch this argument goes from these white people that are angry at H1B1 immigrants, because these people truly don't want to hear anything about any immigrants. They only want to hear about what's good for white people, right? Yeah. So watch it go to a moment where they're going to stop being upset with legal immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
About to be best friends with legal immigrants. We're about to see Donald Trump is more loyal to money than he is to Bannon, who is the reason he's even a politician that won an election, right? There's no Donald Trump first presidency without Steve Bannon. Say what you want to about the monster. Say what you want to, but he did win that election, right? And he propped Donald Trump up in a way using this fake populist, I call it racist like Ben, this fake populist message that was basically filled with dog whistles. Now, their first chance of getting smacked in the face, what do white MAGA do? They start using the right argument, right? And then you got white MAGA crying for affirmative action. I am super excited that DEI now includes white people, and they have a nasty taste for anybody that don't support it.
That's right.
This is huge for me.
Man, listen, Mondale, not only, you're right. Like, when you say excited to see, I'm more than excited to see. I am actually ecstatic. What happened to minority? What happened to model minority, right? Like, what happened to that conversation? What happened to them, a certain group of folks saying, well, you need to be more like the Asians, or you need to be more like all that stuff flies out the window when there's certain benefits that you can actually see in a tangible way. Here's what I really believe. I think we got to watch and wait, fellas. I do. I think for this one, I think the fruition of what might happen has not even gotten close to where we think it might go, right? Here's why. Because this is the first time that we've seen an open conversation surrounding, like, this is the first time that we've seen MAGA versus MAGA versus MAGA versus MAGA.
Yep.
Versus MAGA, right? And it is akin to, we like money in politics, but we like money, but we also don't like people of color, right? So how can we function in this world, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, it reminds me of Democrats, moderate Democrats, and left-leaning Democrats, right? Where, like, you're not being pure to the base if you are a corporatist, right? And on the opposite side, it's the first time we've seen this on the opposite side of the house. You're not being pure to our racism if you're trying to help non-white people. So it's a syntax era. It's the first syntax era of the MAGA administration. And it's going to be really interesting because, corporate, believe it or not, capitalism is racist, but it's not as racist in every single aspect as you think. They like money. They like keeping money for themselves, right? And however they can go about getting that money, they're going to do that. So now they're willing to piss off their base, which is going to be very interesting to watch. That's why I say, let's just sit back and watch what happens for a second, because it's the first time that we've seen MAGA and MAGA go against MAGA.
MAGA on MAGA violence.
It's MAGA on MAGA violence, man. And guess what? We can sit back and talk about white on white crime now, because it's coming.
Look, I want to shout out this comment in the comment section from Twitter. Be leaders, not reactionary. What do we want out of this for us? Listen, and I'll leave it to you fellas if you feel like there's a particular angle that is beneficial to Black folks in this specific conversation. Here's what I see, and go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ben. I want to hear.
Because I got to echo what Marcus just said. The truth of the matter is what I see, and the most valuable for us is the ability to weaken MAGA, to weaken their alliance, because they are going into 2025 not only with Project 2025, but with the House of Representatives, with Congress, with the White House, obviously, with the judiciary. They have the entire government underneath their control. If they also go in with a level of unity, they will be able to steamroll and bulldoze all over democracy, all over the civil rights department of the FBI, all over every single thing that actually matters to Black people, to all people, right? I think we have to not only sit back and watch them fall apart, I think we need to contribute to their falling apart. I think that we need to inflame the situation more. I think that we need to promote both sides of their voices. I don't think this is reactionary so much as taking action, taking advantage of an open wound, an open opportunity to exploit their differences. Elon Musk literally just nuked all of the Groyper, the Nick Fuentes coalition off of Twitter because of this debate. And it's hilarious because it's exposing so much of all of the fault lines. It exposes the fact that there is an economic part, there is an exploitative economic portion of this where Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, all of the tech bros and Donald Trump, they want the cheapest labor they can possibly get. And I hear them saying, they're opening up with their mouths and they're saying, oh, the people who oppose this are racist. Yeah, whatever. Like, y'all don't believe in racism when it's racism towards Black people. They only believe in racism when it's racism towards people they want to hire at a cheaper rate. So I'm not really even buying into their appeal towards racism. Of course, we know there's racism. Of course, we know the Laura Loomers of the world. We know the Steve Bannons of the world. We know the Nick Fuenteses of the world. We know that they really dislike any brown skin, anybody with melanin. They don't want anybody with melanin coming in the United States of America. So we know that there's a racist component here. But underneath it all is the fact that they want to exploit labor. People who come over here on H-1B visas, they're not all the time the most highly and skillfully qualified. They're the people who they can get over here to work $5 an hour for something they should be getting paid $25 an hour. We've seen this with the employees at Twitter. Many of the employees who remained at Twitter, they didn't remain out of loyalty and they love Elon Musk so much. They remained because they were on H-1B visas. And so it becomes a tool to exploit them. And so what do we get out of this as Black folks? The best that we can get is an increase in wages for everyone across the board. The best that we can get is to insist that they raise the prices that they pay, the rates and the wages that they pay people on H-1B visas. But I doubt that they're going to do that. Why? Because the entire point of the H-1B visa is for them to be able to go globally and find the cheapest labor that they can to bring them here. So I don't know that there is an economic win here for anybody except for Elon Musk, except for Donald Trump and them. And I'll leave it to you guys if you feel something different. But I think at the end of the day, the only thing that we get out of this in this moment right now is a chance to weaken MAGA and to destroy their coalition so that they don't destroy democracy.
In the spirit of anew that we're going to go into tonight, right? In the spirit of starting a whole year over with brand new ideas, brand new energy, brand new things that we all bring to our life. I like to actually bring a brand new idea to the Democratic Party. Exploit the situation. And what I mean by that is, see, when Democrats have power, there's always a group of Republicans that we try to persuade to actually vote so we can get a majority. Right now, we need to figure out, if you are a Democrat and you're supporting the Democrats, they need to figure out what side do you lay on. So we can create a divide that is consistently problematic. We need to make sure that this situation, the Democratic Party needs to make sure that this situation does not fall to the wayside and it becomes the dividing issue of the next few months. We need to make sure that this issue doesn't fall to the wayside so they can coalesce around anything else. The smartest thing to do is actually to get some laws passed for progressive policies by supporting one of these segments. I hate to be like that. We might not disagree. We might not agree with a single thing on either one of those sides, right? But if you want to be a strategist, if you want to show some philosophy about political science and also about negotiation and about the things that you need to do to actually get laws passed, then do what the Republicans do. Like, hey, this is where
Just
we're all
rough.
going. This is where we're all going.
Yep.
This is what we believe in it, right? Because no matter what, they have the power. But here's the thing: if this is Congress divided, which it will be, it's the best opportunity for us to not let the situation slide, and also for Democrats to do something more important, and that is get progressive policies passed during this administration.
I also think that I think there's some disingenuous nature in that question. Like, why ask that question right now when we're discussing H1B1, which is an important topic? We are clickbaity political. We are a news show in the context of new news, right? Like we provide our opinions on something that's happening in political spaces right now. So when I hear this brother asking us, what are we gonna, don't be reactionary, or saying to us, don't be reactionary, what's in it for black people? H1B1, has nothing to do with black people. And what I mean by that, if you look at the demographics of people who get these visas, they're not us. Yeah. Right? 72% of them are from India. So I know what Vivek was doing. This is a play for his people. Expand, bring more people like me here. This is a lookout for him, a handout to people, what do they call them? The model minority, right? They're mostly from India and Philippines, and you better know they're intentional with that. Because why? Because exactly what Ben and Marcus said. It's cheap labor.
That's right.
I mean, more importantly, I start.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go
the
ahead.
one thing I want to just say though, hey, buddy, when you asked the question, I think I answered it before you even got your first sentence out. That was, we need to wait and see how this thing plays out. Yeah. That's the answer for it. Like, how can we solve a problem that hasn't come to fruition yet?
Yeah, and it's not even
it's disingenuous.
Yeah, it's disingenuous. Black people.
He said he wasn't trying to be coy, y'all.
Respect.
I'll give him that respect. One turbo pie. I give you that because I don't want,
I come in to save old boy's life. Y'all about to rip his head off.
Because sometimes, anyway, I'll take him at his word. So what I will say though is here's the problem. People aren't talking about the downside of being of the H1B1 visa, right? Like the idea that you come over, you're sponsored by a company. Basically, you have to work for that company. They can treat you any kind of way, and you start complaining. Well, they can threaten you to send you back to where you came from. It is a terrible system in that it's not controlled and managed. By our government properly. And we know as Elon Musk is working this system, him and Vivek Ramaswamy, they're working on another con bigger than this one that the world ain't even paying attention to, right? This idea on how they expand who and what their footprint is in the world, talking about monetarily, right? And I think that is the dastardly part about this influence. We just watch Donald Trump show us that Elon Musk will be controlling what policy is.
That part.
He will be controlling how policy affects him. This is the biggest welfare recipient next to Walmart in this country. Elon Musk has more government contracts than anybody, any individual, right? Using government technology. Let me explain that. Elon Musk has not created anything. So when people call him a genius, I'm confused. He's been pushed out of every company he's been to because he's a horrible manager of people and also product. Even when he was at PayPal, there was a horrible glitch in PayPal that were allowing people to other people to take money out of other people's account, got pushed out. People hated him in there, got pushed out of there. What happens though is every time he leaves one of these golden parachutes that we don't regulate. People that can be horrible at CEO positions, running companies and still get paid unimaginable amounts of money, right? This is what an Elon Musk's entire history is. I'm not excited about the fact that we are being, positive to think about what can we get from this administration, because that is going to set us up to start settling for certain things. Here's what we can do. In these 2 years where we know we're going to be in the minority in all three levels of the government, the federal government, what we can do is ensure that we are propping up progressive candidates that are prepared to run and challenge against any corporate, Marcus said that, corporate Democrats, any of these establishment Democrats, any of these old and out of age Democrats. And I'm not talking about old just in age. I'm talking about old in the way you see what we need to do for people and the services we need to provide as a party. We need to get rid of all of those people in 2026. I'm talking about primarying Clyburn, anybody taking APAC money, anybody taking money from oil. All these people need to be gone. We can do that if we spend these 2 years working to prepare candidates in these districts and get serious. So we can send shockwaves to the party that people aren't even thinking about. So this idea of like, how do we exist under a Trump administration? We start planning on how do we get rid of some of these corporate Democrats that are going to let some of this BS allow some of this BS to become law. That's what I think.
Pastor Ben, Mayor Mondale, can I this has nothing to do with the HB1. I mean, whatever. My question for both of you is this. I'm frankly not trusting of the Democrats to do exactly what you said, Mondale Robinson. I don't believe in them anymore. I don't think that there is any entity that can stop corporate interest from taking over races. And so I'm gonna ask you, Mondale, as the operative and as also like the active elected official on this panel, right? But let me just finish real quick. I don't think there's enough willpower. If we just look at what happened where the old guy got picked over AOC for the position, right? If we look at how races are ran, if we look at how establishment money and email lists and the organization of corporate capitalist Democrats operate in America, where all they have to do is just send out a beacon call and a couple $1 million get sent down against the candidate who can organize better, has half the money, or even 75% of the money. Somehow they manage to pull out these victories, right? And then also there's an ethos within the Democratic Party that is, and we got to be honest with it, that is, we don't want to upset nobody. And like, so where do these Democratic wins come from? So like, y'all have been seeing a lot of anti-democratic sentiment from me recently. And the reason why y'all have been seeing it is because they full of it.
Yeah.
And so I do have a question. So my question is like this right here. Why should I spend a iota of time focused more on the Democratic Party, playing the same game whatsoever, when I know for a fact that in 2 years, right, there won't be more progressive Democrats than there are neoliberal Democrats. We all know that. We can play what we want. We can think what we want. We can act like that's going to happen. We can hope that happens. But at the end of the day, why would I continue to go down the same road and expect different results? Because all three of us know what the answer to that is.
I don't know the answer to that, and I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Insanity.
I think Marcus just showed the world that he don't really listen to me when I'm talking. So I should probably slow down to help my Florida brother, because he went to FAMU. It ain't his fault. Snakes supposedly hear well, but apparently this rattler can't hear. So
that was completely unnecessary, Captain K.
You didn't go with that because you started out coming at me calling me a black Santa. So let me get my.
Because you're Captain K.I. Because you
right.
got drunk at 4 o'clock in the morning and then you try to be all slick on the side on some neoliberal crap, and I called you out on it.
I'm not neoliberal. I'm not neoliberal.
I don't know say nothing else.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you don't.
Okay, so
somebody look up the tweet.
So let me look up the tweet. I want you to somebody find the tweet that Marcus is talking about. So, but here's my problem. I didn't say we need to depend on the Democrats. I said progressives need to unelect them. Money don't matter. Money matters in politics. It does. But people that do this work, people should be prepared to understand that we can win. Let me give you a great example. A person who should not be speaking on behalf of black people or representing black people because he represents the poorest black district or the poorest district in New York. Torres, right? Representative Torres.
Oh my goodness.
Take all this money from AIPAC, but the reason he keeps winning is because it's a Democratic stronghold. But that district is the largest ethnicity in that district is black people. But he's not been primary in I don't know how many elections. And if you look at the people the win number for that race at the general level, bro, in the midterm is less than 50,000 votes. Less than 100,000 people in this 790,000 people district are picking this guy over and over again. So if we primary him, you have to know that in a midterm, the primary is going to be less than a general election, right? And it's going to be less than 50,000 people to win that election. That's easy organizing work. It don't matter how much money you put in there. If you told these people who live in a district where the average house costs $500,000 and the average salary is $47,000, and that you are a poor district, and this guy says Israel problems 280% more than he said your problems.
Come on.
He's talking about that more, and he's receiving all this money from AIPAC. He ain't said nothing about poverty, and he should only be talking about poverty. right? If we start telling people right now and not waiting to 2026 to have this conversation, oh, people be on fire to get his ass out of that seat.
I agree with that.
We don't need the party establishment because the establishment will guard him. But to say that we can't do this is unbelievable.
Oh, no. I agree with no. Let me clarify that.
Okay, go ahead.
You clarified me earlier.
Go ahead.
If you include progressives, we absolutely can do it. If we are just talking about Democrats, then there's no way in hell that this is going to happen.
Yeah, but I as a person, and you know me politically more than anybody, Marcus, I don't organize to the Democratic Party, right? I organize for candidates that I believe in and I think that are better for us. So, and some of those candidates are way more liberal than I am. I mean, not progressive, way more neoliberal than I am. So I think, though, for me, I know for a fact, people like this gentleman who's on the screen right now should not, a black presenting person representing a majority black district, and I'm talking about ethnicity. Why in the hell is your number one priority Israel? Take it. Right. Coming at schools, saying stuff like he said about this right here is unnecessary when you said nothing about the poverty rate of black people in your district. The poverty rate is 30%, bro. 30% of the people in his district are living below the poverty line in one of the most expensive cities in this country. And that's not a conversation. That only happens because he's not been primary. This guy could probably be taken out with less than 30,000 votes. There are 200,000 black people in his district. That means about 49% of them are black men. 49%. So we're talking about enough black men by ourselves that if we engage them, we could go get rid of him immediately.
That part.
How about Marcel and Clyburn?
Clyburn should have been gone. Listen, people don't even understand the election. Marcus, you know this. Majority of black men in Clyburn's district have never voted for him. Clyburn has not been primary in a real way, and I don't know how long.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. But think about this. Think about this, y'all. For real, think about this. Less than 20% of the black men in Clyburn district has ever voted for him. That in itself is a rejection of who you are. If we are taking pride in the number of people who did not participate in this election because they said, I don't want to deal with the milquetoast of either party, right? If we are priding that in this 2024 election, then we have to acknowledge that majority of black people in Clyburn's district is saying, nah, dog, I ain't never effed with you. If I ain't never voted for you, I ain't never effed with you.
Okay.
Not ever. So 80% of black men don't support this cat in his own district. At least they don't get out and show support. So that means if we take 21% of the black men in his district, we probably can take him out of that seat in the primary.
Yes. Listen.
We
So
all these people, bro.
Can I just play just to, I don't want to just irritate people, but I do want people to hear what Richie Torres, and it's not even just the fact that he's, it's not even the fact that he's pro-Israel or talks about Israel when he should be talking about the issues in his district. That's huge. But it's also the fact that he has been one of the staunchest defenders of the genocide of Gaza since October 7th. I mean, this bastard is one of the most disgusting members of Congress representing black folks who I guarantee you the black men and women in that district and gender nonconforming individuals in that district ain't down with the genocide going on in Gaza. I just want to play it I don't want to just play it to irritate folks, but I just want folks to just hear his commitment. This is what he put out just the other day.
The university embedded in anti-Israel propaganda that it has a publication entitled, quote, the Columbia Intifada. What is needed in our society is a revolution of the responsible against the Intifada idiocy of the far left. Columbia University is
the Intifada. It's a meaningless post, but it's a post that, like this individual said underneath my post, is going to help him get even more money on top of the $1.786 million that he's already gotten from AIPAC. I agree with y'all, brothers, 100%. I think our energy should go into primarying and making sure that these cats don't get back into power. Name them: Richard Torres, Jim Clyburn, Marcellus. You said, where did Marcellus win? When did Marcellus win?
Win what? Not win nothing.
I didn't think he won. I thought I heard somebody mention him to primary him, but I must have heard wrong. But the point is Mundell, you know the numbers, you know the districts, you know the messaging. I think we should, and then when I say we, I don't mean anybody else. I mean the three of us. And nobody else.
I'm launching a super PAC. It's called the hashtag I put on the post about him. I'm launching a super PAC to get rid of. And people was like, well, he might not run for. I know he's trying to run for governor or senate, but I already know if he runs for senate in 2028, he's gonna get AOC is gonna wipe the floor with him. But if you think about that governor race, he still needs to be primary.
That's right.
Early in New York, you want to know why? Because New York has some of the most restrictive voting laws. You got to be registered up damn near a year, I think, before to participate in the primary. So we need to get started quick on educating people about what it means.
Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know you'd be registered.
Yeah, we're launching a super PAC, an entity to challenge people just like this. All these corporate Democrats. We're gonna put them on.
Listen, whatever I can do, I want to do. Whatever I can't do, I want to help and get it done, because nobody needs to get put out of office more than Black people who are sponsored by AIPAC. And here's how I think we also do it. Republicans and MAGA ran a masterful plot on us in 2024 to tear down Kamala Harris. And it saturated the Black community, particularly Black men. So I say we use the same playbook. We take the same playbook and go head on with Richie Torres as well as Jim Clyburn and just sandbag the hell out of them. Now, y'all, you have to find out, you know, the candidates way better than I do. Whether or not we can find a high quality candidate, that to me, I'll leave that to y'all. But in terms of tearing down these men who have torn down the Black community, these men who have done nothing for the Black community, these men who stand behind AIPAC in the middle of their Gaza genocide. Oh, nah. I'm all in. Let's get them.
Ben, put Hunger Games. Put Hunger Game comment on the stream.
Put what now?
Hunger Game 1989 _ 1989.
Hunger Game _ 1989. Question: Is this how Black men who get? Yeah, I have to read. It's too small for me. My God.
Is this? It says question. Is this how Black men who get? I think they mean who are friends argue when they disagree with something. The way Marcus and Mundell seem to be with each other more than normal. I am obviously not a Black man or Black woman, and I've never seen people who say they are friends argue like they are not. Cracking jokes, and I think this is where people miss our community. Like what people call bullying is called cracking jokes. And like Marcus and I are as close as we are because we talk so much ish to each other the way that we do. I can't explain it other than you had to grow up in a Black household in a Black community with Black folk around you and with tough ass skin to get and know what we're talking about and what we're doing. So much in our conversation ain't even like us arguing. We're just having conversation, cracking jokes on each other. That's out of love and knowing who we are. That's all that is.
Hey, Ava.
Happy New Year's. And I miss
baby. Appreciate you. Hey, no, first off, it's obvious to me also that there's a thing about also knowing the history of clickbaiting, right? Like, thank you for supporting us right now. Thank you for watching our show. But on the same, and Happy New Year to you, sister. But on the same token, like, we go at everybody. There's nobody safe. I mean, if you know the story about why we call ourselves Squirrel Gang, you understand that the innocent guy on the right over there, he's just a part of it.
We were cracking jokes one night, and we said to do it.
Look, White. Listen, White think because I can't. I'm sitting in the Holy Spirit tonight. Y'all leave me out of this one tonight. I gotta preach a sermon in about an hour from now. I gotta carry my congregation into the new year. Please don't make me try to roast, because I'm gonna end up cussing. Then I'm gonna have to repent. I'm gonna have to fast. I ain't even got enough time to fast. So y'all handle each other.
I'm not even getting on Mundell right now, because I think there is a cultural aspect to this that needs to be known, right? Yeah. There's a reason why. I mean, because some white folks get it. If you think about Larry Bird in the 80s, right? Like, he was the biggest shit talker in the history of the league, right? But you won't hear any of the greats talking too much noise about them. They have a camaraderie for them, right? And that's because at the end of the day, it's like they're in the same sport. They appreciate one another's greatness. I don't really appreciate Mondale's greatness enough, but I like his beard every now and then. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. Santa needs rest. and you know he gets gray every time he comes back from the North Pole. You know what I mean? So
Hey, man,
and
that
he got a
Grado,
black
that baby
reindeer.
rocking though, man. I
He
mean,
got a black reindeer named Maya Rudolph,
Ah.
and he,
That's nasty work. I got a black fruit. My wife looking like, where she live at? Look, don't do that, dog. I don't have any reindeers, y'all. Listen, don't have them people looking for me.
Can we move on? Can we move on to Jimmy Carter real quick? Because I got
that's serious. Go ahead, bro.
I got a story. So rest in peace to our former president, Jimmy Carter. He died yesterday at 100 years old. Personal note, right? I found out Jimmy Carter had passed away maybe 5 minutes before I boarded my second flight to become a pilot. So I'm training to be a pilot, y'all know.
Oh, really?
And I was actually getting on to do my second trip yesterday. And then I go on Twitter and I see that there's so much stuff about President Carter. I was like, dang. So we had an option to go in multiple places when I'm in the air. You can go south, you can go north over Lake Lanier, and that's never going to happen. And then you have a chance to go over the city of Atlanta. So I specifically put a route in to go over to Carter Center and pay some of my condolences from the air. Right? He was a great man. He was a great man. He was a humanitarian, unlike any other president that we've had in the past, probably in the future. His work with Habitat for Humanity is something that we need to make sure that we elevate, because Habitat for Humanity has done some amazing work, and Jimmy Carter was the catalyst of it. I mean, and to vote at 100 years old, right? No matter who he voted for, to vote at 100 years old is just something spectacular. People blame Jimmy for a lot of economic woes that we had, not realizing that President Carter was also a victim of a changing economy, changing society. It's sort of like America going from dial tone to the internet in 2 minutes, right? Yeah. You're going to have some bumps in the road. But for the most part, Jimmy Carter was a very good a representative of the state. And also, up until the Carter administration, there had not been as many Black Americans that he has hired in his White House up until that day. So rest in peace to Jimmy Carter. Rest in peace. And thank you for everything that you did for us. I'll pass it over to the homies.
You're on mute, Mundell.
Yeah, so I listen. For me, Jimmy Carter is my favorite president. Actually, my name is Mundell because of Jimmy Carter, right? Like my mom watching the campaign in 1979. His vice president was Walter Mundell. My mom liked the name, and that's how I got the name. So I mean, like I always had an affinity for that. But beyond that, I mean, like let's think about who Jimmy Carter was. Like, I mean, he put in the 70s, y'all, solar panels on the White House.
That's right.
He put solar panels on the White House in the 70s. Jimmy Carter also used to sit down and have real hard conversations with America. He warned America about this idea of stock, like people's worth was not what they do, but it was based on what they own back in the 70s. So he was having a sit-down conversation with American populace in a way that other people, no president has done. And I could never see a president in modern time doing what Jimmy Carter did with those hard conversations he used to have with Americans. Jimmy Carter used to hang around with the people that the world called undesirable. Bob Dylan, right? And all of his stuff was at the White House. Willie Nelson smoking weed at the White House, right? Way back then, this guy was hanging around with the youth, being in touch with the youth in a time when nobody else was, right? And we see it right now. No president, not Barack Obama or the oldest one, Joe Biden. None of these guys were reaching out or in tune with what the youth were saying in their generation. So I applaud him for that. It's also worth naming that the reason that this brother lost was corporate Democrats and Republicans, right? You had a legacy in the Kennedy boy, and I call him a boy for a reason, the spoiled Kennedy boy who challenged Jimmy, who split the party, right? You're talking about an incumbent president being challenged, and it was all stemmed from how Jimmy sunned him when he came to Georgia in the 70s and thought he was going to be able to talk at a problem that Jimmy had a master over when he was governor, and just shut the room down. Like Teddy was put in his place, Teddy. And then so he decided to run against this man and split the party. On top of that, you know about the 1980 October surprise.
That's
where
right.
you representatives of Ronald Reagan working with Iran, having a secret deal not to release the hostages until after the election. That is why we lost it. We didn't have a second term from his president. So what people want to talk about though is, his president was short. I mean, his presidency was short, but his legacy is unmatched.
Yeah.
Unmatched. Not just with Habitat for Humanity, the strong stances he took on Palestine when it was unpopular. And this brother was doing it by himself out loud, right? So that in itself, his dedication to humanity showed through. This man who taught, his same Sunday school class lived out the
Boy, you taking every one of my points, boy. But go ahead on.
Lived out his principles in a way that none of these so-called evangelicals are right now, Ben. Tell the truth about it.
That's
this man said Jesus preached a long time, and every time Jesus preached, and while Jesus was preaching, even before he was born, homosexuality was a thing, and you've never heard Jesus say a single word about homosexuality. Never did you hear Jesus condemn homosexuality or homosexuals. I don't even know if you use that term. LGBTQI folk, right? So I applaud this man for being steadfast, he's proof that money can't buy everybody. This is a man who went back home to his same old little neighborhood, little bitty house, and lived there happily and still was effective. He became a statesman, not for the United States, but for everybody who loves people and also the idea of Christianity.
Yeah. No, and all jokes aside, Mondale, you and I must be reading the same book, because I was going to start with the solar panels. He put the solar panels on in the 70s, and you had that backwards Ronald Reagan come and tear him off. You had the fact that Jimmy Carter was a Christian's Christian, if we can, even say such a thing, right? I love the fact that he did, like you already mentioned, Mundell, he went and taught Sunday school every single Sunday while he was president of the United States. Every Sunday. Like, who does that? Most of these cats don't even really halfway believe in God, don't even go to church. It's especially not going to go to church and then teach Sunday school every Sunday. There was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter's embrace and understanding of the plight of the Palestinian people. I don't know of another president who has taken that kind of stand before, during, or after their presidency. But there he was taking that stand, the most unpopular stance, and didn't care. Somebody mentioned like the fact that he was a nuclear scientist. He was, in his naval assignment was a nuclear engineer. Just speaking to the brilliance of him. I know a lot of people point at the fall of the Shah regime in Iran, and they look at that as a failure. But I can't look at that as a failure in so much as I have to look at the fact that the United States of America first uprooted and installed the Shah back in 1950s, some odd years. And so that was Jimmy Carter being caught holding the bag of American foreign policy as it had festered for at least 40 or at least 30 some odd years before he even became president. Khomeini came into power because the United States sabotaged the democratically elected leader of Iran and supplanted him with the Shah, the family line of the Shah. So, I know a lot of people say, oh, he fell there. No, America fell there. And then somebody else has already mentioned the fact that Ronald Reagan and the GOP committed treason and insisted that the hostages not be released until after the election. I think you look at Jimmy Carter and the transition to Ronald Reagan, and you see a definitive shift from good to evil. Not great. Not that Jimmy Carter was perfect. He was a manager of empire, right? And we've seen what empire does. I think if we look in South America, particularly, we'll start seeing some of the baggage of Jimmy Carter's being a manager of empire. But all in all, the sum total, when you look at the whole equation, Jimmy Carter was maybe not the most effective president. And you got to, what is our metric there? What are we measuring it by? But in terms of being the kind of president that we should have at a bare minimum, I think he is the bare minimum. Everything else that we've had has been some type of either monstrous global imperialist like George W. Bush, or a neoliberal kind of manager like Barack Obama. You know, we have the Orange Julius. We have what he is doing. Like every president that we have Bill Clinton. I mean, he had his good, but he certainly had his horribles with Bill Clinton. And I look at Jimmy Carter and I look at what America chose to do after him. And I mean, immediately, what America chose to do with Ronald Reagan, we're living in the aftermath of, we're living in Ronald Reagan's society. And we could have, you know, Ted Kennedy, you mentioned Ted Kennedy and his primary of Jimmy Carter. We most certainly could have been put on a totally different trajectory. But right now we're living on this trajectory. Why? Two reasons. One, you said corporate Democrats. One, two, the treason of the GOP. But then I'll throw a third one in there. White evangelicals. They decided to make their number one priority the justification of supporting the Republican Party because of Roe versus Wade, which wasn't really the issue. We understand the true issue was segregation. But they decided to move away from a man who taught Sunday school every single Sunday, a man who prayed every single day, and said he wasn't Christian enough for them. So they went and got this actor from California who didn't even go to church. And they said, that's our guy. That's the one that we want. And ever since, we've been on this trajectory towards this hellscape that we live in today. I think the most important thing about Jimmy Carter's legacy for me is the rejection of a good Christian man by white Christians in favor of their politics.
Well, I mean, think about it, man. The way he, sorry, Marcus, the way, Ronald Reagan announced, right? Announced, hey, Ava, Ronald Reagan announced that he was running for president in Philadelphia, Mississippi. For what? So that he can, because that's where the black people that were trying to integrate, that were working during the 60s, that's where they were killed at. He went to that site to announce he was running for president for that reason. So that was a dog whistle to white people that, hey, I'm your president. I'm here for y'all. Don't forget, Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. He left when they let black people sit and be a part of the Democratic Party. He was a part of those. Him and Strom Thurmond left together. That's what Ronald Reagan did, right? He's one of those people. So we know who he was. So when you say white people rejected Christianity for Reagan, hell, we see that right now too, right? When you say we live in his legacy, we absolutely are, because white people have long rejected their religion for white supremacy, and in this case, Donald Trump. I wanted to say one thing, Marcus, before I turn it over, and it was that we also cannot forget that was Jimmy Carter, a black woman who had a public defender who she only got 10 minutes to spend with, was charged for murder because this person told her to plead guilty after only meeting with her for 10 minutes. The court railroaded her and gave her life in prison. She worked in his mansion as a nanny of his kids. He, when she was out on parole, moved her to Washington, D.C. Jimmy Carter did. And she worked in the White House, raising his kids for him. That's what he did. And when he left and went back, she left and went with him. Finally, she got pardoned. She's still living. This sister is still living.
Wow.
Jimmy Carter, a woman would have been in prison she was prison labor, which is disgusting in itself. But Jimmy Carter believed that this woman was not guilty, and so much so that he brought her to Washington, D.C. to the White House. That's what we're talking about. And the rejection of what we call so-called America's Christian morality was on display with Jimmy.
That's right.
And it was also it was a reminder to everybody that is not white that America is a white institution.
Yeah. And you know what? Big up to him, because he actually had that brother was so far ahead of his game in terms of progressivism, because I am reminded of what he said about the LGBTQIA community. He says homosexuality, he used the phrase homosexuality was a well-known thing in Jesus's day. And Jesus didn't say not a word about it. And then somebody asked him, said, do you think Jesus would approve of gay marriage? And he said, absolutely. I said, okay, brother, you out here, and white evangelical out here in these streets being more progressive than 99% of black preachers. All right, I hear you.
My thing about President Carter is that the wealth gap started pretty much when he left office, right? Like I think that's the most important part about like these CEOs who make 100 times, 10 times. I mean, it was always going up, but the biggest, the most drastic increase between presidencies was the Reagan Carter transfer, right? Carter Reagan transfer. And we got to think about things like that, and we got to also think about, like, it's almost fair to say that Jimmy Carter was the most progressive president we've ever had, right? It's a fair statement to make outside of maybe FDR, and then we think about the racial issues, we kind of got to push him back a little bit also, right? So like, and by the way, FDR, I mean, we can make this argument all day, you know what I mean? Like, we could talk about Lincoln, right? But when it comes down to like progressive policies, and also speaking on like humanizing other countries and other countries' plights, Carter not only did it, he used his bully pulpit afterwards to show in a real way that that it's okay to be a good human. You know what? This might seem a little weird, but I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something to everybody watching right now. It's okay to be a good human. It's okay to be a good human. It's okay to say please and thank you. It's okay to be in service of someone else, right? You know, I hope you go into the year of our Lord 2025 being okay to be a nice person, right? You don't have to be a perfect person, right? But you need to be a nice person to everybody that you deal with, right? See, there's some people that I say, like Jimmy Carter, that are, I believe that if you do believe in a higher power or a place to go when you pass away, there's some people who are going to go to heaven. And there's some people who I think might go to hell for their actions, right? If you are a person that thinks in binary thought. Now, you might think like Bill Gates, and once that thing is over with, you just cut off like a computer cutting off, right? But at the end of the day, I just would like for everybody to remember, be a good human being, right? Be like Jimmy Carter, right? And do it for everybody in your life and everybody that you don't know, man. This year, like 2025, do yourself a favor, right? Like maybe stop and give that dude $1. Maybe stop and buy that man some food. Maybe like tell the truth when you don't really feel like telling the truth. Maybe be in service of someone who needs your service and you haven't been in service with them, man. Like, I think as we kind of like, as I reflect over the past year, and then I reflect and then I forward think for the first year, like the 2025 and this year, right? Like this year, I was selfless, and I continue to plan on being more selfless in the year of our Lord 2025. And I hope that like you can learn your lessons from the good people around you. I'm saying this for a reason, right? Like I think it's a perfect segue into 2025, right? We lost one of the nicest, most genuine people in the public space in the past 50 years of politics, almost 50 plus years actually of politics in Jimmy Carter, right? And it just makes me think, how many nice people do we have left, right? How many good people do we have left? So I ask you, like, just from my little platform that I have right here, like, as you go into 2025, man, be a good person. That's all I got.
I like that, Marcus. Ben, you said something. First of all, Marcus, that was a sermon, and I hope, Ben, I ain't trying to, give you no sermon coaching, but still some of Marcus stuff. Make it easy on yourself. I'm
gonna replay that part during the service tonight. Go ahead.
And he ain't used no bad words. Look at Marcus. I do want to say though, you said something because people might forget this. It is godly to do, Marcus. It is godly to do for the least amongst us. I mean, Jesus said so. The Bible said so, right? Get from them away from me is what he said. What you didn't do for them, you didn't do for me. The reason that increase happened, Marcus and Ben, was because of Ronald Reagan's war on unions, right? The war on unions led to that income, that increase in the income deficit, or the income gap, I should say. And I think that is telling on who this person was. Like, he had an entire administration and also life about doing for the least amongst these. And I think that is Jesus-like, that is Christ-like. That is the only Christianity that matters. Like, what are you doing? The gospel has to be balm, BALM, balm for the least, for those who are suffering the most. And if it's not, then it's not salty. It has no purpose. So what I would say is, it is ironic that Marcus mentioned that Jimmy Carter voted at 100. I feel like and I don't know who he voted because the ballot is secret, but I feel like Jimmy voted for Kamala, and realized, maybe my vote was to prevent someone talking about one of the biggest things I did. One of the biggest things he did was to give Panama the canal back. And now we see on the last days of his life, he was watching the news, probably thinking, well, I did try to prevent this person from coming into office who's about to start a damn war, because that's what's going to happen if Donald Trump thinks he's going to take the Panama Canal from Panama.
You know what makes me wonder real quick about that, and let me take the good president down, because I think both of y'all, that was a sermon, Marcus, and I'll talk more about that later on tonight. But what's amazing to me about this Panama Canal issue is the hubris, right? I know I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised, but it still is amazing that Donald Trump will come in so cavalier. And then, I'm sorry, pause. I gotta remember how he first came in 2017. The very first thing he did in the first 2 weeks was put out General Flynn, who was the director of his national intelligence, I believe at the time, and said that they're putting Iran on notice. They wanted to go to war with Iran in 2017. And so now they're coming in with all this bellicose language about the Panama Canal. And they're talking about Greenland and all this stuff that they want to and making Canada the 51st state. And I'm like, to what end? I don't know. And I'll let you guys say whether or not you feel like they have any seriousness behind this, or is this them just trolling the world? Because they're stupid enough to try to troll the world and not realizing that trolling the world leads to actual conflicts. They are dumb enough to do that. But I also think that Donald Trump is dumb enough to have somebody in his ear saying, I can make this amount of money if we take back the Panama Canal. We can do this if we take back the Panama Canal. So I think it is a very real possibility that he thinks that he can do that, and that he's willing to try it just because some businessman, some entrepreneur, some psycho came to him and said that this is what we're going to do. This is what we should do. And he thinks it's a good idea. And then last but not least, and I love to hear you, the idiots who support this, thinking that America is so dominant that it won't cause a conflict. I'm not saying America won't win that conflict, but we will be at war. And a lot of the people in MAGA who are supporting this, they're so cavalier with their own children's lives. They're so cavalier with the kind of damage that it will cause, the kind of lives that will be lost. They don't care so long as it strokes Donald Trump's ego. They will literally lead us into war, even if it's nothing more for no other reason than to stroke Donald Trump's ego. What do y'all think?
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. This is another build that wall moment, right? Yeah, you might attempt something close to it, but he's not going to. Like, here's my thing. Donald Trump's a coward.
Yeah.
Not trying to say that Donald Trump won't. Cowards do stuff like, because I've dealt with cowards recently. Right? Cowards run from pressure, right? Cowards also will end everything by pressing a nuke, right? Because they're afraid of going through the work. But what I'm going to say is Donald Trump has a track record of starting things and not finishing them, right? He has a track record of, I'm going to do this pomp and circumstance as soon as because there still are a couple of remnants of people with common sense in that White House that are going to be in that White House. Most of them are going to be staff, right? That, that basically the bureaucratic place, the folks that Elon Musk want to get rid of, right? Donald Trump is not going to want on his track record of war. I hate to be like this, but we got to look at his record so far, right? He likes to promote himself as a deal maker, right? I doubt, and if I'm wrong, it sucks. I hope America hopes that everybody watching hopes that I'm right, right? But Donald Trump ain't finished the wall. That was his biggest thing. So for him to go to that, I don't think he wants no part of being a commander in chief. I don't think Donald Trump wants any part of being a commander in chief. I think he wants to be a buffoon and a circus orchestrator, right? Like but I don't think he wants to be.
Oh, Marcus, boy, you cooking tonight. Hold on. You got to say that one more time because that's a powerful statement.
Donald Trump doesn't want to be a commander in chief. He doesn't. He doesn't have the wherewithal. He knows he doesn't have the wherewithal, and he probably knows that he doesn't have the skill set, and he probably knows that the people around him are buffoons. Like, there might be a small inclination of intelligence in Donald Trump. Is like, we might do a lot of things. I like the pomp and circumstance. I like the media game. But as soon as American lives start getting lost, I'm not going to know how to handle that because I am not a commander in chief. I just hold the position, but I do not want to do the job. He's not going to do anything to start a war. He's not. That's right, Tracy. That's going to keep him from playing golf. He doesn't have to be in the office too much. That boy like to go to Mar-a-Lago, like do his little whatever. You know what I mean? He like to do his little whatever and pop off at the mouth of the media, right? That's what Donald Trump does. He's not a person that's going to institute a policy that starts a war. Like, I promise you that, right? Like if there, matter of fact, if Mexico had said, we're going to go to war with America, and America, knowing that America has way more power than them, an army of them, but guess what? Donald Trump wouldn't even thought about starting the war because he's a coward. He's a coward.
Your lips to God's ear, man.
I think you're right. I think the problem though is when you're in that position, when you're Donald Trump as the president, president-elect, right now, president, you destabilize economies, you destabilize lives with words. And I think that's the danger of going on Twitter, retweeting the Panama president who has an obligation to tell his people that you're not taking the canal from them, right? Like I think people, we have to acknowledge that is destabilizing. Also, Donald Trump don't understand how what you said was powerful because I don't think he understands how treaties work. We're not the only country with treaties. If you try to take Greenland from Denmark, you are at war with people in Europe, buddy. And if you invade Canada or if you try to take Canada, you are at war with everybody they have a treaty with. I don't think this man understands how government works. So beyond, I don't even need to play those games. He does not understand how government works. Let's say that's clear. I think though, the problem with that lack of understanding and the idiots he's putting around him, one, of course, he's trying to make his family richer. We see that every one of his daughters' father-in-laws are part of his administration in some way, right? This is money, looking out for money. People are also upset about Joe Biden pardoning his son, but they didn't have this much fire when Donald Trump pardoned someone that a Republican
wasn't it Jared Kushner's father-in-law?
Jared Kushner's father-in-law. Who literally he blackmailed his brother-in-law by entrapping him and then recording the sex exchange and threatened to say, I'll show this to my sister. I mean, like the level of sickness in all of that. So I think the problem with the reason the Panama Canal is so big, not just because it split two continents, and it did, but that was a pun. Y'all didn't get my dad joke? Come on, guys. The Panama is big as a waterway. Come on. What's going on, man? That was a good joke. I was waiting while Marcus was talking. I was like, look, I got a pun. Anyway, the reason the Panama Canal. You know what, Marcus? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm not as good as you and your twin, Sinbad, and making jokes.
Oh, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take it.
Can I get you tonight? Why are you acting so calm tonight?
Because you're not doing it. You're just not doing it. And see, listen, what I realized recently is that power comes in silence.
Boy,
power
what you say?
Comes in silence. Power comes in silence and not being overly emotional. So, Mondale, when I don't let you get under my skin, I'm just going to let you know something, that is a remnant of something else that I'm doing in life. I'm not letting anything get under my skin, and I am using the power of ISIS.
Roy, let me tell you, silence is one of the most deadly weapons you could possibly have, man. It is powerful. It is powerful. I've had one of the most contentious meetings I've ever had. People coming at me left and right, and I just sat there silent. And they got angry and angry and angry. They couldn't get angry at me because I wasn't saying nothing. Then they ended up fighting each other because they got so angry they got mad at each other. Just watch how silence just disarms. Marcus, you cooking tonight. And I said that to my wife earlier. I don't know what I was watching. I don't know if I was watching a clip of you. I don't know what it was, but it just came. I said, that boy Marcus be on fire.
When I'm on it, when I'm on one,
when you own it, boy, when you own it, you be on it.
Oh, sometimes I get on this show and look like a complete idiot. That's perfect.
No, it ain't never happened.
You ain't never.
When I'm on one, right? That you know what it is, guys. Next year, as the oldest member of Cickbaity Political Thirsttrap, I'm one
older than me, dog.
I am. I'm one step older to being 50.
Wow.
I'm a couple years away from it. But
how old are you?
I'm one step over to being 50. Y'all know how old I am. I'm 47 right now.
Damn.
Yeah, look at you, Kevin Hart. Look, I knew that Kevin Hart.
What's that?
That was Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart with your boy from Marvel.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle.
Listen, no, but at the end of the day, right? Like it's like this right here. Hey, I'm not stressing stuff no more. I've gotten to the point where it's like, so even when me and Mondale disagree, like he got on my little Twitter page and called and said, that's BS. I promise you he erased it, but I screenshotted it. I'm going to send it over right now. We're going to post it, right? But
I ain't
listen, ain't no reason to like try to change things you can't control.
That's right.
Right? Like you got to be at a place in life where like you're at peace, and peace brings you a lot more happiness, right? Don't get me wrong. We can get lit on this show if Ben ever lets us do that again. Get lit and then talk noise all night long because we've done that before.
Listen,
right?
I just like to put a little space between the shenanigans and service. I got service at 10:30 tonight.
We're being good, right?
I know. No. You saying if I ever let you get loose. All I'm saying is I can't get loose tonight.
I know that, Pastor.
Next Tuesday.
So where I'm at right now while I'm cooking, let me just tell y'all something. Like,
go ahead and ground it, Marcus. Go ahead and start to close out for us.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's a good idea. Actually,
it's not slander if it's true.
No, hold on. See, somebody trying to push our buttons. We literally about to close out the show, and then put that back up. Who is that person?
It's somebody, some random JT. No more Tariq slander. It ain't slander if it's true. All I do is share the man's own words. The man said himself he got offered a bag from white supremacists to attack black immigrants. And so every time he opened his mouth to attack black immigrants, I'm gonna share that clip. I don't even say that.
Did he take the bag?
Have you seen him? Have you not seen the shift in his actions? All he do is criticize black immigrants. That's logical.
Right. Hey, check this out. Hey, let's end this thing. But I want to end it tonight.
You got it, man. You on fire, bro.
No, actually, I want to end it. I want y'all say whatever y'all got to say, and I'm gonna end it.
Oh, you want us to say something? Then you end. Okay.
I'll go first.
You got it.
I'll just say this. As we close out this show, the last show of the season, and also of this year, I want to say to you two, 2025 has to be the year that Cickbaity stands in the gap, because we see that some people are willing to waver, and we cannot do it right now. It is too important for black people. We watch the media get so up in arm and call someone a terrorist for killing a CEO who kills people through policies all the time, but said nothing, almost nothing, about 13, 14 officers beating a handcuffed black man to death. So I need you all to stand in the gap with me as we ensure that people know that black men are paying attention and we know what politics are, and we're deeply involved. And I will close it by saying, whoever preached Jimmy Carter's funeral, please end it with job well done. Done.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. You making me feel the spirit already, Mondale. But I don't have anything extra to add. I don't have anything different to add. I want to echo your sentiment. I think 2025, Cickbaity has to rise to a level that is unquestioned and unquestionable, because without a shadow of a doubt, you have three of the most brilliant minds in politics, in different lanes of politics, but all three of our minds politically, historically, and our hearts. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. What's crazy though, I might not should have as big of a heart going up against you boys as I used to have, but I had it. And y'all have hearts. Y'all got that dog in y'all. I got that dog in me, but we also have love in us. And we balance a ferocity that we'll fight whoever we got to fight. I mean, what we got to do, let's go get it done, especially if it's for our people and it's for our family. At the same time, we're doing it, and we're doing it in love. And so when you have three brilliant minds like you have on the screen right now, and you add on top of that the fact that we'll fight whenever somebody show us where the fight needs to be fought, and the fact that we do it all in love, we're the voices that need to be heard. And I'm saying this to the audience because you are the people who can help make that happen. So Mondale, you said it so beautifully. I don't have anything different to add. I just want to echo your sentiments, and I yield the floor to Pastor Marcus, who has been on fire tonight.
Please like and share. Go over to the Cickbaity Political Thirst Trap page and like us if you're not already on there. Please come subscriber and a Patreon to the Cickbaity Political Thirst Trap page. And if you haven't subscribed to the Benjamin Dixon channel, and on the last day of the year, you might as well go ahead and do it now and join the Patreon. It's been a great year. It's been an amazing year. Believe it or not, because we're still alive.
Come on.
We have another day and another opportunity to correct whatever mistakes that we had in the past year, to come together with the people that would care about us the most, and actually to grow and learn from any trials and tribulations that you had in 2024. Now is not the time to not stand on your business. And whatever that business that you decide to stand on, make sure you stand on it and you do it in the best way you know how. And remember the people that help you get to where you are, so you're going to be alive. And remember the people who have less than you. But just make sure that you remember yourself. Do yourself a favor, folks. In the year of our Lord 2025, love yourself. Love yourself more than you love anybody else. Start with yourself first, God. I swear to God, we don't do it enough. We don't love ourselves. We allow everybody. We allow
Don't play with me, Mondale.
Yeah. We allow everybody to dictate. And I want everybody to remember this one statement as I end the year. Other people's opinion ain't your business. It's been real. Cickbaity out. See you next year.
My.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, Cickbaity political. Yeah, Thirst Trap, Trap Squad, Squirrel Squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent Cickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, thirst trap, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up.